Today we're going to begin a unit called Pointillism. Pointillism is basically creating values and shades with the use of dots only. No shading with pencil. So what I'd like you to do is open up your sketchbook to page 38, and this will be our practice page where we get used to our pen. I am using a fine tip felt pen. And you will notice here, and in your sketchbook, I have drawn some very faint lines, one indicating a leaf, one indicating a line. What I want to do is show you actually how to do pointillism. Lightly with pencil, you will be sketching, and I will explain the assignment and show you lots of examples of the assignment in a bit. But right now, we're just going to simply practice doing dots with the fine tip felt pen. So if I want a line, what I am not going to do is this. This is a not do. But instead, if you want a line in pointillism, you are going to dot it. So you're simply going to take your felt pen and do fine little dots over your pencil line. You will eventually erase your pencil line. So how you get a line in pointillism is dots. So take a minute to practice doing a line. Notice also the difference. It's very obvious if you simply draw it with the felt pen. The subtle dots will impress your viewer of your artwork. Now what I'd like to practice is how to show gradual transitions. Because if you're creating value in shades, you want to have dark spots, middle spots, light spots, white spots. And so how do you get those gradual transitions? Here's how we do it. Again, maybe I want to dot my leaf. Now keep in mind, you do not need to outline everything of your flower. We will be doing a flower. You do not, I repeat myself, you do not need to dot every single line. But how could you get transitions? Basically, I'm dotting. And if you notice, as I should have enlarged that sooner. Go back here, notice the drawn line. Notice the difference between the two dotted lines. Very easy to spot if you draw your lines. How do I get gradual transitions? Gradual transitions in this leaf, say I want the leaf darker at the base, I would simply do lots of dots piled on top of each other. And this assignment will, at times, try your patience, but stick with it because you will be so impressed with yourself when you finish it. They turn out beautiful. Now notice I like to just simply say, once you have dark areas, gradual transitions would be to let some of those dots crawl out and space out So think if you were shading with a pencil and you would want it to be light, but you'd want some dark areas. I can still get this area darker. Darker is lots of dots piled on top of each other. Middle value shade is fewer dots. And light is dots spread out. Now notice what I mean when I say gradual transitions. What you don't want to do, and I'm going to try to make a mistake here, is if it's not a gradual transition, I will block in now I am going for a dark value, but notice I didn't take my pen and go like this. I did lots of dots piled on top of each other. This is what I call a non-gradual transition. What is going to look better and more impressive is instead of creating a harsh line in my leaf, let some of these dots crawl out and create a middle shade. So get rid of that harsh line. And how, if you get an area that doesn't show gradual transition, you can always go and put more dots. So I'm trying to go from a dark area to a medium dark area. And say that I want this area light. If it was a pencil, I'd do light shading. I'm just going to put a few dots in here. Now, notice how I took this gradual that had a line right there and I bled it out. That's a more desired look. Now, let's say I want a veining line in my leaf and I want it to be noticeable. I can get a dark line in there. Maybe I want to put, and again, it's super tempting to take your felt pen and just simply draw, but that is not pointillism. Pointillism is using only dots. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't pre-draw with some pencil lines that you actually end up coloring, or actually not coloring, you don't end up coloring, but you can draw some pencil lines just as some guidelines, but that you will end up covering with your dots. So there I have the beginning of a leaf. It's completely okay to leave some lights. In fact, that's what makes your light values. It's also completely okay to not cover every single line that you've done. When you are completely done, so 24 hours later, In fact, it will probably smear right now, but you will take an eraser, and again, I would not do it the same day that you dotted it for smearing. And you will erase any pencil lines. And you may then notice that you want to go back in and you want to clean some lines up, or you like the look and you want to leave some of those lines. So this is the process of actually doing the pointillism. And again, it is absolutely no lines drawn with the felt pen, except for if you want a line, you dot the line.